and specific facts that show that the policies we have in place today, if it is all of our goal for true diversity and true equal opportunity for all, equal dignity for all, that the rubric, the policies, the strategies, the structure that we have in place with DEI today is not working. We have a study from the University of Baylor that's been revered all over the country that shows from 2018 to 20 that DEI does not equal any significant results for university hiring of minority applicants. We have a study from the National Bureau of Economic Research that shows that chief diversity officers and DEI frameworks do not result in diverse hiring. We have a study from Harvard University, backed up with every metric questioned and tested by the University of Tel Aviv, that shows that there are no results in the business and corporate world related to mandatory diversity training. We have results from 2022, university results that show that 76% of applicants for faculty positions at particular universities were not ever even considered for their academic record or merit due to diversity screening and loyalty oath requirements. Diversity statements are not designed to ensure that potential faculty members follow civil rights laws. Instead, they're designed to sort job candidates by ideology. They reshape the culture on campus to ensure that faculty members conduct themselves in a manner that advances a certain political agenda. And requiring diversity statements as part of the employment process acts as a gatekeeper for prospective faculty and staff, and it dissuades those with dissenting viewpoints from applying. By eliminating personal autonomy, this amounts to nothing short of viewpoint discrimination and compelled speech. If you could hang a sign above this bill, the sign would say, "Dissenting viewpoints need not apply." Is that the Texas University campus we all strive for, where some are excluded under the guise of very important nomenclature, diversity, inclusion, very important words? DEI has become a political agenda, not a program to follow civil rights law. In eliminating personal autonomy, whether you call it viewpoint discrimination or compelled speech, it is not free speech. And without free speech, without equal opportunity for all, without equal dignity for all, diversity, equity, and inclusion falls. And if it falls, what are we supporting? If the facts show that the results have not brought more diversity in faculty hiring, what are we fighting for? Mediocrity? Is that what people send us here for? To fight for mediocrity? I've taken criticism for carrying a bill under this subject matter because, of course, it's odd at first glance when you read a caption to remove a unit or an office from a university under the name diversity, equity, and inclusion, but we have to strive for better than what we are getting. I hope we build something better. I hope that something proves to be more inclusive for all viewpoints. I hope that something includes true diversity. I hope that our goal together, shared together in alignment, is equal opportunity, not equity arguments that are designed to be equal outcome that excludes some or many or sometimes all that don't share in that mindset or that strategy. Loyalty oaths, political litmus tests, mandatory training related to gender and pronoun usage. Is it really okay with us to keep DEI units when just down the street at Del Seaton, you are instructed, if you work there, to capitalize all references to the word black? You are instructed through published literature and guidance that if you refer to anyone that is white, you use a lowercase. Is that okay? Is it okay that Asian Americans were excluded from A&M's diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies and goals? It's not to me. It's not to any of you. What we do know is that hundreds of people are working to implement DEI programs on Texas campuses, costing millions and millions of dollars, that are implementing these controversial strategies, and it's exclusionary. If some think it can be saved, that's interesting, because to many of us, that's not worth saving under the guise of true inclusivity and equal dignity for all. Minority college admissions across our state have failed to reach goals. And again, the Baylor study showed that in 2018 to 2020, having a DEI office was not only ineffective increasing the number of minority hires within the faculty, but they declined. In hiring new faculty, a growing number of mandatory diversity statements has resulted in compelled speech and chilled free speech. Those are not just one-offs. We did not cover all of the examples I have today because only if asked, I went through a specific Texas University example. You know why? Because there are many, many examples across this state and across this country, examples taking us in the wrong direction. If Texas is going to continue to lead the nation and the world, we can't let that continue, especially in science and research. This is particularly critical. We must recruit the best people in every field, regardless of race or gender. As we all keep diversity and inclusion as a top priority, we must hire based on merit the best and the brightest, the most competent. We cannot afford to screen out anyone who might have the key to curing cancer or Alzheimer's. We need the best minds, and we need to recognize that all of those minds won't think alike. They won't clear the hurdles of a narrow loyalty oath tied to a DEI unit. In fact, that's the point of creativity, of innovation, of progress. That's the kind of diversity we also must consider. So what I appreciate so much about this debate, as difficult as some of the conversation has been, certainly in the committee process as well, over the past several days and here today, is that it has been an honest conversation. We've talked about race, we've talked about civil rights, about what has been done, what is not working, what we have done that is right, and what we have left to accomplish. And isn't that a positive? I'm proud we've had this conversation. I want to make sure we continue to have it. One of the things we all agree on is that there is more work to be done. But we know when it comes to civil rights, to equality, to freedom of speech, and the issues that are on the table today, we solve problems by ensuring that the barriers of the past have been removed and that we all work together. We just may have a different viewpoint on how to make that progress. Not all of it has to be offensive. It may just be a different viewpoint on how to achieve a very, very similar outcome. But we have to make sure that we aren't creating new barriers to equality, inclusion, and certainly for freedom of speech for everyone, which we have well-documented examples where that has been specifically infringed time after time under these rubrics. Members, if affirmative action falls at the Supreme Court level, I'm carrying the bill to allow the University of Texas to make decisions based on admissions outside of the top 10 percentile. I obviously have the right intentions, and many of us have other bills that are outside the scope of this legislation, but also carry out our goals that we have all shared together today on this floor. Senate Bill 17 will ensure that every job applicant at a Texas college or university is hired based on merit. This legislation will ensure that employees at Texas academic institutions are free to speak their minds. They will not be required to attend mandatory trainings that they don't believe are effective, but that they are certainly welcome to advance their own cause to achieve very similar goals based on a different strategy. This debate is not only about the University of Texas or A&M or other universities across the state. We have the best universities in the world in Texas and the best people working at them. But we have to have tough conversations. We have to share in the oversight of how the dollars are used. And if we are all sharing in the goal of striving for more diverse outcomes, we have to scrutinize whether or not things are working. And if the majority party is pursuing those goals, there doesn't have to be some sinister ulterior motive. It can just be that we all seek more diverse outcomes together. This debate has extended across this nation. Texas is leading on this issue, as we should. Earlier this month, debates at MIT, they were deciding what to do about DEI, the lack of progress, and even in that deep blue state, advocates on all sides admitted that DEI was not effective and had, quote, gone off the rails. More and more states and campuses are recognizing that these programs need another look and that they are carrying out results that are divisive, fostering turmoil and distrust, and hampering freedom of speech, destroying open inquiry and expression. And those are the bedrock of our universities, those principles. DEI is costing taxpayers millions of dollars in many examples, but that's not the most important point. We have to advance diversity and protect free speech. That is what Texans deserve. all Texans. All Texans. I appreciate those that supported Senate Bill 17, and I appreciate those that offered dissenting viewpoints during this discussion today. I'm committed to continuing to work with you to achieve these goals. Mr. President, I move final passage of committee substitute for Senate Bill 17.